Hello class, hello Mr. Harris. This is Darin Ferraro's discussion 1 for week 5. I have viewed 2 films, documentary films. One is World Without Water, 2 is the Water Wars. The first one I would like to talk about for a little bit. The first one had a lot to do with people in India and other countries having to go miles and miles and miles away just to hopefully pray to scourge as much water as possible per day, every day, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. In the story of the world without water, one of the sons actually passed away due to having no water, which he died of dehydration. In this video presentation, the motivation behind the world without water, which is my first video, talks about motivation. It gives awareness that people in other countries are not getting the necessity survival habits that they need: water, vegetables, fruits. It literally takes bottles and bottles of water just to make a head of a lettuce, a tomato, an orange. Everything requires water. And in these countries, they don't have it. And they're dying every day. The effectiveness of this film, The World Without Water, gives complete awareness to every single audience out there that people need to understand that we may come a point where we're going to run out of water and we need to make sacrifices and a lot of changes. And also, the people in the Coca-Cola business and the business of, how would you say, entrepreneurs like myself, try to take all the water and leave no water for us, and that's not how it's supposed to be. People at least need to survive, but in other countries such as India, Indonesia, Egypt, they're short of water. And the big manufacturing companies such as Coca-Cola in this video produces so much water per day, but leaves no water for the poor. So as I was stating this, the world without water can happen. And the awareness and the effectiveness to the audience, they need to be aware. And that the people are dying of not having enough water. And this is an urgent sacrifice that people need to be able to survive. Number 2, my second video for pretty much the war on water. The war on water explains the big world banks, the big companies, the people are sucking the water dry, keeping the water for themselves, and not producing or letting water being a rise for people who are poor, people who are in need of it, people who can't afford it at all. They take out loans. They take out. They pay everything they have. They work 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to drink water, and that's the outcome of what's going on in those countries and worldwide. It's not just happening into America, but people look at water in America like, okay, it'll come every day. In other countries, that doesn't happen. In America, it also can happen. A drought. Sinkholes, which we're having right now, huge sinkholes. Winter Park, Florida was one of them in the actual video. 2, the sinkholes in Tampa, where I live, Tampa, Florida, are massive. LA, earthquakes, all due to dehydrated water, which we need as a necessity. Other further information needs to be addressed in fixing this water crisis. Now, as far as my citations for both of these, I like to talk about Hindenburg A 2007, which is my citation. Speaking for representing others stems from the connected points telling two sides of every story, which is true mostly in the world without water for my first video. The second video is more of a one-sided. It's more of, let's talk about the people that are actually big banks that are actually holding all the water. That's pretty much a one-sided story. But in Hindenburg A's 2007 talks two sides of the story. Now, from other citation for the water wars, Finnegan in 1999 citation. According to Finnegan in 1999, there was a widespread support for the nation of fully militarized border at this time. Not just in California, but the state most affected about immigration, Mexico, being number one in this situation. But immigrants would cross the border of Mexico and jump in the contaminated water that spreads diseases, such diseases as hepatitis diseases. And that's just naming one. There's multiple diseases. You can get a ring around your hand. You can get other diseases that they had mentioned actually in the video. Hepatitis is actually probably the major one that you can get. The water contamination is bad. What contaminates the water? There's 3% of water that actually is clean. Spring natural water, which you actually pick up in stores, is clean. 97% of the water is polluted. And what causes pollution? Soil mixture, contamination from automobiles, sewers, breathing oxygen in the air. When the Lord, or whoever you believe with, I believe in the Lord, takes water from the ocean, puts it up into the clouds, and then throws it all onto the ground, that's salt water. That's probably 97% of salt water that actually, it's contaminated. It's salt. It's not natural drinking water. As far as my citations, both have actually been presented, as well as my two documentary resources. I've also touched on motivation, which is an explanation of the possible. There are really no hidden agendas. The narrative voice book presents. Not really any bias. It's more motivational speaking, letting people know, being aware of what the water is doing. The effectiveness of creating a strong awareness is exactly what I displayed. We have to rely on other resources. We have to let the audience know what's going on. We have to give water to people in other countries who don't have it. They're dying every day. This is the most effective awareness I can give. Both of my citations will be attached to this video, also photos to the video. And as well as that, the collaboration activity to my 3 or 4 minute, which has run over, I apologize, has complete. Thank you, class. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for this video. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.